What is up? The day finally arrived, and the brand new Apple Pencil Pro and the new iPad Pro just came in. Before we get started, I do want to note that I have had the second gen iPad, the fourth gen iPad, which is the 2020 version, and I've had the first Apple Pencil and the second Apple Pencil. First things first, let's pop open the Apple Pencil Pro. So, one of the big features that was marketed with this iPad or with this Apple Pencil is that it has a kind of twist effect. You can twist it along your canvas and you can kind of move it around similar to a traditional brush. Of course, it has this nice little sleeve on it. Little ASMR for you. And you just peel this thing right back. Now, right off the get, it looks exactly like the old Apple Pencil. I know the original one came with extra tips, but this one did not. I don't think that the Apple Pencil second generation came with extra tips either, so it really do be like that with Apple sometimes. You can see it looks and feels just like the previous Apple Pencil, but it does say Apple Pencil Pro on the end. As far as the tip goes, it unscrews. It looks just like the old one. Let me grab the older one for comparison. This is the older Apple Pencil. You can see the difference there on the end between the Apple Pencil and the Apple Pencil Pro. If I stand them up, try to hold them the same height, looks like they're exactly the same size here. I'm not really seeing anything different right out of the gate. The tips also look like the same size. I do like the way that it feels, so I'm glad that they didn't change the design too much. One thing to note is I believe that this new Apple Pencil does not work with the older versions. You must have the newest iPad to take advantage of the features, and we'll be testing to see if we can get it to even connect to the older iPad. So let's go ahead and set the old one aside, leave the new one right here, and let's go ahead and get into the iPad. I did get the 1 TB version. My last iPad was the 512, and there's about maybe 90 gigabytes of free space left on that thing. As someone who's constantly recording videos, editing, making digital art, and animations, that thing starts to fill up over time. But it has been since 2020, so I would say that it lasted a pretty good amount of time. And the only reason I did opt for the upgrade is because of the new features and the new pencil. Figured it'd be kind of important for my line of work. It did come with a cord and a brick. Big ups compared to the latest iPhone releases that don't even give you the brick. And I'm not even sure if mine came with a cord. It may have. This brick looks like the same brick that came with the second generation iPad. And the cord is like a pretty short. I mean, I think this is a 3-foot cable, which, I mean, is short enough if you're plugging it in close, but if it's anything like the older iPads, you probably won't want to use it while it's charging because it gets freaking hot. A booklet filled full of all sorts of things that I'm not going to read. Oh, well. I really like the feel of this microfiber. It does feel a little bit silky. I know from my research into different microfibers for cleaning screens, some of them that you order, it's really hit or miss. Some of them that you will order will be almost too silky and it feels like it smears the oil around on the screen. And then some feel a little more suede-y. And the ones that feel a little more suede-y, I feel like they pick up the oils much better. And as a glasses wearer, it does actually make a big difference between like smudging and cleaning. So this feels pretty good. It's not too silky. And we will be testing it out on my dirty iPad screen to see how this feels. That's a nice touch. I didn't know that this was included. It's got a little Apple logo there on the bottom. Very nice. Usually you could expect pretty good quality from Apple products, and I wouldn't expect them to chintz out on the microfiber. And at one point in time, I did look into ordering my own VisualTimmy microfiber cloths, contacting suppliers and all that. You'd be surprised. It's kind of hard to get the exact microfiber that I like. I think I had to buy a camera cleaning, or like a lens cleaning kit from B&H Video, and it came with an orange cloth, and ever since that's been my favorite microfiber. You've probably seen it in some of my videos. This is like the best cloth I've ever come across, so we'll see if this thing can compare. Anyways, moving on to the actual device. Again, it's got this nice paper on it. I know that this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Oh my Lanta. That's nice. Whoops. Hopefully that didn't give us any scratches right out of the gate. And wow, this is thin. Just so you can see the thickness of the pencil versus the iPad. The iPad's about twice as thin as the pencil, which is kind of crazy. And you do have this flat side, which is the magnet side, which magnets right there onto the top, just like the previous iPad versions. You can see you got the camera there that I will probably never use, because how can I possibly use it for filming while I'm filming the iPad? Looks really nice. It's got your little magnets back here, probably for the case. And I've already got some fingerprints going on it. Very nice. Won't be the first and definitely won't be the last time I smudge my greasy little fingers on this thing. Here you can see we have the nano textured glass. You can see it looks a little hazy. And if I point it directly at my light, you can see that it is pretty muted. I'll get my other screen to show you for an example. If I take my phone, and you can see the camera very clearly. This, you can hardly see it. It'd be right there, that little shadow. You can see the difference between flat glass and the nano texture. Let's point it at the light. You can see my $2 bill and my Snorlax up there on the wall. And look at the light. Wow. That's a big difference in terms of getting reflections. If you do record on your screen, that's gonna make a big difference. A lot less reflections, and we'll see how that actually looks with the screen turned on. Again, I can't emphasize how light this is. This is incredibly light. It is it is so thin. I don't know if you can see this. There is banding occurring because of the refresh rate being different than the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and try to adjust that and get rid of that for the rest of the video. Okay, as you can see, I got the banding issue solved. If I come up here to my shutter speed on my camera and I rotate around to different fractions, you can see that the banding appears and in some cases disappears. The sweet spot that I found seems to be 1/80. According to the calculation I found online, you should have some fraction of the frame rate, which on this would be 120. So I would think that 1/60 would work, but it seems like 1/80 gets rid of the banding completely. Not exactly sure why. I'll have to experiment with that some more. Let's just open up one of these projects, and you can see that the color representation is really good. Check out that reflection from the nano texture. That's much better. It's a crazy improvement. Let me get my old iPad. Look at that reflection. It catches the light, and you see that this does have a paper-like screen protector on it, so I'm not sure how much that is affecting it. If anything, I think it would diffuse the light better than the regular glass. So you can see like how crazy that reflection is. And then if we compare it side by side, that's just nuts. I'll be able to move around my lighting setup and have it not absolutely blow out the image. These would be the two devices side by side. Let me go ahead and try to connect the old pencil to the new iPad. And they've done something with the magnets to where it doesn't even want to snap on. Let's try it the other way around. We'll take the Apple Pencil Pro, try to stick it on the old iPad. And it does the same thing, which is a good sign. So you're not going to accidentally pick up the wrong pencil. Nor does it connect or even recognize it as a pencil. I'm going to go ahead and do the unthinkable and get my grimy hands all over this thing. And let's go ahead and try the new microfiber cloth and try to get those smudges off without any solution. I'm pressing very lightly, especially because I'm at an angle here and people are always commenting how thin they are and bendable they are. But unless you're really trying to bend this thing, you should be using it on a flat surface or some sort of stand, and it should never be an issue. I'm pressing very lightly, and you can see that that cloth did a great job of pulling all of those fingerprints off. It looks very nice and clean, and I'll say that I do like it. I have seen other people talk about the new nano texture glass and how if you're using an additional screen protector on top of it, you can get a lot of distortion because the screen protectors that are textured, such as the Paperlikes, they already have this kind of refracting effect with the pixels. It can make them look a little fuzzy. So I'm not sure how the screen protectors would look with this textured glass. Let's reconnect this. Unlock to connect. It's trying to sync with the pencil. Instantly, it brings us into welcome to Apple Pencil Pro. Try squeeze. Hover the screen and squeeze the Apple Pencil to quickly access the tools you need. Oh, there's a little bit of like a haptic feedback. And it looks like wherever your pencil was last hovering is where the menu will pop up. So far, the squeeze feature that gives me a little like haptic sensor in here so I can feel it's properly squeezing is not giving me any features inside Procreate. I believe they're coming out with those soon with the next update of Procreate. And let's try out the hover. We're going to go over here into settings, preferences, and brush cursor. We're going to turn that on, and you can see that it is noticing the hovering. So it does hover the color of your pencil. So when I had this color selected, it's not showing my brush tip when I'm hovering. But if I select something darker, you can see that it instantly shows. It also shows the distance. It's very light when I'm far away. And when I get closer, it gets darker. And it should hover the shape of the brush as well. If we come and just pick up a different brush, yes, it does show it here. This brush has a follow stroke setting. So you can see as I'm moving in an S, you can see that that texture is following my brush. We come in here, go to shape. You can see here that follow stroke is selected. Oh, I like that too. It hovers over the sliders and shows you where you're tapping. That's very nice as well. But if I go ahead and turn off that rotation, you can see now that the cursor is going to stay without rotation. One of the new features that this Apple Pencil can support is a kind of twisting motion. So if you were to have a big fan brush or something like that, you would be able to twist as you're drawing to follow that curve. Similar to how this follow stroke works. You see how that's moving. So we'll see if that is implemented in the newest version of Procreate. I'm like 99% sure that that will get added, which will be really nice for all kinds of artists, especially those working with traditional style brushes in the digital space, because you'll be able to really maneuver your tools in a way that you previously haven't been able to inside digital art. So I'm excited for that. So far, I think the iPad looks really good. It's very thin. The nano texture is great for the reflections, and the new Apple Pencil has some cool features that I can't wait to see implemented with the newest version of Procreate. So without seeing those updates yet, what I would say is if you don't have an iPad, you don't necessarily need to go up to this version. I'm not seeing a lot of things that are really changing the game per se. So the old Apple Pencil, I would recommend Apple Pencil 2 because you have this nice flat spot, the magnet, and the double tap to change your brush. You can set this to whatever you want. and it seems like those core features are still available here and with the old iPad, so it's not that big of a deal if you don't get the newest one. My old one still works great, and I always recommend the 2020 iPad Pro because it's a solid machine that has never had any issues with working in Procreate or even editing video. That's just another thing to keep note of. As these new tools come out, I'll be sure to learn them inside and out and go ahead and share those results with you guys, so that if you do end up getting this iPad, or if you already have it, or if it's on the way, you'll be able to use all those features to their max capability. So I hope you enjoyed this little unboxing, and when those new features come out, I'll be sure to bring them to your attention. Hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next one.